Hello, I'm Mackenzie Fell. Today I'm in the Flyer TV studios in Kennedy Union on the campus of the University of Dayton to talk to you about a unique opportunity for all of the university's first year students. The First Year Immersion Program is a partnership between the Dayton Performing Arts Alliance Ballet and UD. On April 3rd, first year students will experience the ballet Romeo and Juliet at the Schuster Theater in downtown Dayton. Students in a number of disciplines are already preparing for the performance by learning about the various aspects of Romeo and Juliet. Today, I'm joined by Dr. Bresnahan of the Philosophy Department and Professor Patterson, who will talk to us about various aspects of the ballet Romeo and Juliet. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. So first question, Professor Patterson, I'm going to ask you, what can you tell us a little bit about the history of Dayton Ballet?
Well, Dayton is very lucky in that it has one of the oldest ballet companies in the United States. The Dayton Ballet was founded by Josephine and Hermine Schwartz back in 1927, and of course it was founded as a school for the dance, which is a common practice in the dance world. Usually there's a ballet school first, and out of the ballet school is grown a company. And that's exactly what Josephine and Hermine Schwartz did. In 1927, they founded the Schwartz School for the Dance. And about 10 years later, they culled the best performing students of Schwartz, and they made it the experimental group for young dancers. That was in about 1937. And I think it was 20 years later, in the 50s, 1958, I believe, that the Dayton Ballet, as a nonprofit organization, professional dance company, the Dayton Ballet that we know today was formed in 1958. So the company is celebrating, I think it's in about its 78th season,
Wow.
which is huge.
Mm-hmm.
One of the oldest regional ballet companies in the country.
Wow,
Mhm.
that's very impressive.
Mhm.
Okay, so Professor Bresnahan, for you, what do you think about on April 3rd when the students have this exposure to a ballet? It's many of their first time seeing a ballet. So for these newbies, what do you think they should notice or what they should look for?
Well, I think when you go to the ballet for the first time, it can be a little bit intimidating. You may not be used to men wearing tights. You may not be used to a large-scale production with huge physical activity happening that isn't a sports game or something like that. So you want to really kind of look at the design of the entire stage and how the dancers are fitting into that. But mostly just pay attention and enjoy the story. The dancers are moving in ways that'll make it clear what's happening, who's Juliet, who's Juliet's mother.
Mm-hmm.
There'll be a duel scene and you know that Romeo is fighting Juliet's brother. And it'll be very easy to follow in terms of the narrative. I think students will be surprised to find out that the dance vocabulary that we're going to talk about a little bit more later is very easy to understand. There are gestures, there's emotional language, there's love, there's
Mm-hmm.
it's all the stuff of grand soap opera without the words, with expanded gestures and movements and maybe a leap of joy or a fall of despair or something like that, and
Yeah.
to just let themselves be carried away by the story.
Yeah, that's very cool. Okay, so Professor Patterson, the theme for first year students is literacy. So can you tell me how this connection between ballet and literacy will exist?
Sure. In the English department, as you said, the theme for every student who's taking English 100, which is every student who entered as a freshman, will look at English through the lens of literacy. And of course, literacy is widely held to be reading and writing. However, when you're doing a whole course on a writing seminar with its theme as literacy, we are looking at extending that definition to mean what it means to capture language and have a relationship with language in a community where the language that's spoken or that's used has a real impact on the way that its participants interact.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the ways that first year students can make a connection is to understand that ballet is in fact a literacy.
Mm-hmm.
These dancers do not get up and know how to do the steps. They do not know how to balance or pose or move across the stage in the ways that the students will see on April 3rd. They, in fact, have studied for a very long time at places like Schwartz School of the Dance
Right.
and other places around the country where they've acquired this literacy that allows them to interact with other dancers, interact with choreographers, interact with technicians who light and build sets and play music for the dance. So it's a world that is highly impacted by a language that is highly specialized, and the people who participate in that literacy have to be extremely learned.
Exactly. Do you have anything to add about that?
I just wanted to add that people used to think that dance was pre-lingual, that it was somehow pre-civilized to dance. And since then, there's been a change in thinking about dance as more of a developed and skilled and articulate language that may express things differently than you would in poetry or in music or in literature, but that still has huge expressive capacity.
Exactly. So after this performance, what do you think they will think about ballet, or will they want to be more exposed to it, or how will they get more ballet if they really do enjoy all of this? Either of you have a comment for that?
Well, there are a number of ways. Perhaps someone, their interest is really piqued. I mean, that would be wonderful. Everyone hopes that. But you don't know what kind of dance you may be interested in. The internet makes it possible to see different genres of dance: modern dance, contemporary dance, urban dance, classical dance, by simply looking up video on, say, YouTube, or going to some dance company's website and seeing excerpts of their repertory. That way, when you go back to your respective city, or when you're traveling abroad or to some other city and you see a dance company having a performance, then you're able to participate, and you want to participate, and it becomes part of your experience wherever you are. So the hope is that once your interest is piqued in the dance, that you will take some initiative to see what you like and continue to forge an interest.
Exactly. Do you have any last comments to add about it?
I just wanted to also mention that if what happens to you after seeing dance is that you want to dance, there's a lot of classes that you can take for absolute beginners at UD in the theater department. And I actually had a lot of men's baseball team members in my philosophy and dance class one semester, which I teach every other spring, which is half theoretical and half dance. And if you're interested in kind of ideas pertaining to dance and connecting them to dance, there's a lot of things that you can take, and sometimes you can get credit in other departments for these classes as well.
That's so exciting. That's great. Well, hopefully their interest is sparked and they do become fans of ballet. Thank you guys so much for being here today. We really appreciate it. So thank you so much for joining us once again. Romeo and Juliet will be performed for first-year students on April 3rd at the Schuster Center in downtown Dayton. Thank you so much for joining us.